Okay, welcome to Kieno Training Systems, and we have a question coming from Augusta, Georgia. The question is dealing with absolute value and how to solve it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to look at this problem, how to analyze this problem, and I'm going to talk a little bit about absolute value. So I don't know how dark this is, but I'm going to write it bigger. But it's the absolute value of 2x minus 3 equals 5. Now what we need to know about the absolute value is that no matter what's inside of here, whether it's a positive or negative, it's always going to be positive. Because absolute value really doesn't deal with, when it's in here, it's more concerned with a number of units or a number of distance. So not to confuse you too much, but if we had a number line, and we went from 0 to positive 2 or from 0 to negative 2. Now it would still either move left or right 2 units, but it's the same distance. So the absolute value of negative 2 equals 2, and the absolute value of positive 2 equals 2. Alright? And if you guys, anybody watching this video, if you have further questions, just go to my comment section, and if you have more questions, if that didn't make sense to you, then just let me know. Now, this was the question. Alright, the absolute value of 2x minus 3 is equal to 5. So whatever we plug in here, it has to equal 5 units. Whether it be a positive or negative, it really doesn't matter. So, when we look at our options, and I'll just move the camera here so you can kind of see, I'll give it a close-up shot. Answer A is x is equal to negative 4 or x is equal to 4. So these are possibilities. That's all I want you to look at them at. You know, if we plugged in negative 4 into x, would we get 5 or negative 5? Because we could get 5 or negative 5, and like I said before, if it's within the barrier or the container of the absolute value symbol, negative 5 equals 5 and 5 equals 5. Alright, because it just deals with movement or distance of units. So when you're sitting here and you're looking at a test and you're like, oh, I can't figure this out, and you're going nuts, relax. All you have to determine when you select one of these answers is, if I plug in negative 4, what will I get? Let's just say that. And then, or if I plug in 4 into x, what would I get? Alright, so let's take a look. Let's look at A. Alright, if we plugged in negative 4 here into the x slot, alright, negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. And then if we add that to negative 3, it would be negative 11. Does negative 11 equal 5? No. So honestly, if I'm taking a test, I would throw that answer right out. I would say no. A can't be it. Alright? But if you wanted to go the full distance, and I'm sorry, I lost my eraser, so I'm using an old sock. Now, if I plug in x, if I plug in 4, then 2 times 4 is 8, minus 3 would be 5. That works. But both of these have to work. Alright? So, the negative 4 did not work, so we can cancel out this answer. Now, if we plug in negative 4, again, negative 4 didn't work in A, so it's not going to work, so we can move on. Now, let's look at negative 1. Alright? And I'll just go ahead and give you a little spoiler. This is going to be the answer to the question. C. C is the answer. X, if we take negative 1, we plug in negative 1. Negative 1 times 2 is negative 2. Negative 2 and negative 3 is what? It's negative 5. It is in the container of the absolute value. So the absolute value of negative 5 does equal 5. And then if we take 4, again, my old sock, if we plug in, take 4, and 2 times 4 is 8, minus 3 equals 5. Alright, so the absolute value of positive 5 equals 5. So C is the correct answer. Okay, so you wouldn't even have to go to, I mean, you could if you wanted to. -3, because I did this in my head. -1 times 2 is -2. That works, but when we plug in the 3 in answer D, 3 times 2 is 6, and then if we subtract 3, it will be -3, and the absolute value of -3 does not equal -5. So that is like the little survival technique. If you're really not good at math, you just have to understand absolute value for this question and use all the options. You plug them in, you play with them, you insert them. This is just a big puzzle. And when you plug in different parts of the puzzle, it's like, okay, well, does this equal this? And if it does not, it's not the right answer. So C is our answer. This is Kieno Thomas with Kieno Training Systems. I thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Good night.